Well, greetings, everyone. It's nice to have you here today for the value of certification. We are thrilled to have Kathy Schmidt and Heather Daniel here today with us. Certification is sweeping business education. It is probably one of the hottest trends going in that states and departments of education and school district want accountability for what their students learn in regard to their technology skills and many, many other things, entrepreneurship, so on and so forth. So we decided that we really wanted some industry leaders to come in and help us understand that landscape. And so we got some of the best people we could find in the industry. We've worked with them for over a year on different things at NBEA, and we just found them to be a group of first-class people, first-class educators. We're glad to have Kathy Schmidt here today. She's got 25 years of business experience utilizing Microsoft Office products. She's a 10-year teaching veteran, and she's now the customer service manager or customer success manager for CCI. One of the interesting things that she says in her bio is that she's got credentials in that she's lost a job or been passed over because of lack of credentials. So I think that was a unique thing to say. And unfortunately, it's very true that that occurs today. And when you're stacking two people up against each other and all things are equal, certification often wins the day. In addition to Kathy, we have Heather Daniel, and she's a leader in the tech space. She's the director of content and learning, and she has the development of the courseware and curriculum designed to map to industry recognized certifications. She's also spearheaded the creation of Experienced ED. That's CCI's cutting-edge kinesthetic learning platform that offers a unique in-learning experience like no other in the industry. While CCI is a vendor, they are more today an information provider, and we're hopeful that they'll provide us with some great insight to the value of certification, and that they'll also show us their product. We've asked them to do that to put in context the things that are out there in the market and the things that you need to be aware of when preparing your students for certification. So without further ado, I'll turn it over to Kathy. Thanks for being here, Kathy.
Awesome. Woo-hoo! So excited to be here and share some great learning tips with all of you as teachers. As was mentioned, Heather and I are both previous teachers. And it is, in fact, true. And that's probably the reason for my evangelistic nature is that I had job after job. I didn't actually have a regular college degree. I went CTE through Plan 2, business route. And so I truly was passed over for many jobs because I didn't have college, I didn't have credentials, but somehow I ended up training everybody. So as a teacher, it was really powerful for me to be able to really let the certification sink in. I'm going to go ahead and move my slides ahead. So you can see here our credentials, which are not any big deal, but we are super excited with training. And we love to bring certification to life for teachers because it's one of the hardest things to really get students to buy into is why certification is so important. And we have experience in the matter and can help students understand this. So it's really important as teachers that you first and foremost help your students understand the value of certification because it will increase the number of certifications that they have a desire to earn. I'm super excited to be here with my partner in crime, Heather Daniel. We've been training together for quite a few years. So with that said, let's just move on. Our agenda today is why certification, and then we're going to have some student success stories. And I'm not sure why it keeps jumping 2 slides, but we'll just play with it here. And then we're going to talk about the Learn, Practice, Certify model, and then leveraging certifications. So why certification? Why is certification so important? Skills have become the global currency of the 21st century economies. And Why is that? I bet that each of you are answering to yourself, and if you're not, I'm going to answer it out loud, because college has really lost its return on investment. College is so expensive right now, and there's so many things that students have to go through. And I'm not advocating against college, but what I am saying is that skills are what's needed. Kids can come out of a 4-year college situation and have zero experience or zero hard skills, which is really where certification comes in and gives applicants an edge. So we are just absolute proponents of certification. Now, certification does make a difference, and I want to talk about this CAPE. It's the Florida CAPE Academy Performance Report. And they did this, they tracked 9th through 12th graders down in Florida. And I love this study because these are hard numbers that were tracked and are evidence of what certification can really do, even in and above helping people get a job. So not only do they have a massive advantage on their resume, but it increases graduation rates, 97.5 with certification versus 78.4 without certification. That is a serious difference. Higher GPAs, 3.12 with certification, 2.78 without certification, increased post-secondary enrollment, improved student confidence. And I could go on and on and on and on about what certification does for students. I taught middle and high school, and I had all 9th graders for my first 6 years of certification. And we did the post high school and beyond planning in there and career exploration. It's just exponential what a certification will do for a student and what it will do for their self-confidence, not only in their post high school plan, but in their current educational situation. There's nothing better than a student sitting in a classroom and a teacher having an issue with a PowerPoint, and they're able to quickly help them because of the things that they learned through the certification objectives. So some powerful statistics here.
Yeah, and Kathy, I know you're going to share the best story ever with
Yeah,
Ashley.
for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. But even myself, and I would love to hear from some other people, put it in the chat.
Please.
Some success stories, which would be awesome. I know for myself, I have, quite a few as well. A couple that just kind of really stand out is one student still in high school getting certifications came to me, and I was like, you have to take your certifications into your job, part-time job. He took his certifications in and got an immediate raise. He was so excited because he was making more money than people that were out of high school and that had been in the position because of his certifications. So that was one huge win. Another huge win was a student, because of certifications, was offered a full-time job and scholarship to be able to go to college, which was huge for him because he did not have an avenue to be able to go to college. He wasn't really sure how he was going to be able to make it. So by getting his foot into the door, especially with Excel, because he had Excel and Excel expert, and then just getting into the door was just huge. So these statistics are awesome. And I know I have a ton of just really good, stories, and I'm hoping that everybody else has some good stories out there as well. And if you do, please feel free to add it to the chat. And I know Kathy's getting ready to talk about one of her just amazing stories.
Yeah, and thank you so much for that, Heather. And we would love to hear your success stories, because that is really what fuels this fire, is when we support each other and help each other understand that this is not a one-off deal. That, Heather, those are 2 students that Heather mentioned. I'm going to show you one. We've got hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of students who this certification, any certification, whether it's a Microsoft certification, an Adobe certification, a project management certification, any of those certifications, Autodesk, Unity, any certification really does give them a leg up. Oh, not what I wanted to do. Let me switch this real quick. Just 1 second here. There we go. All right. So I always love to show this. And this is quantitative evidence, especially for admin. You can see that Microsoft Office is 4th listed. This is an international data center study on workplace readiness. What does a person need to be ready to go to work according to companies all over the globe? And Microsoft Office is the only productivity software package listed in anywhere in this survey. Number 4, Microsoft Office as a whole. And then when you get farther down the list, they do break out Excel, Word, and PowerPoint, not necessarily in that order. And oftentimes I have administrators say, well, you don't need to be teaching PowerPoint. I'm a little outspoken sometimes. So the first thing that comes out of my mouth is, well, what do you present in? Well, a lot of schools are Google districts and they will present in Google Slides, but that is not what business uses. Using PowerPoint is like being able to use a cell phone. That is what presentations are done in the business world. So very powerful information here. Just a slide here. I'm not going to go over this and read all of this to each of you, but we will have this slide uploaded for you, this deck, and you can take a look at these. But a lot of states are talking about why certification is powerful in their purview and in their sphere of influence. So some powerful quotes here. Additionally, this is one of my very favorite things. As teachers, of course, we don't want to just sit here and talk about what's going on. We want to give you useful things that you can use in the classroom to help your students understand the value of a certification. This is one of my favorite activities. I do this on the very first day of the unit. Every single time we do, whether it's Word, PowerPoint, or Excel, and you can do it, generally speaking, with Microsoft Office, or you can break it down to Microsoft Word or Microsoft Excel. But if you look up these different cities and these different skills on Indeed.com, it is so powerful to see the exponential amount of job openings real time that day that are offered for Microsoft skills. It's just unbelievable. And students start to go, oh, okay, well, I guess maybe there is a reason I'm using this.
I did this too, Kathy. I would do it every quarter. I would run a new report as and put it up as a poster. So as they're walking in or walking by, they, it's just a quick visual to say, oh yeah, that's why I'm doing this.
And a great talking point. Great talking point.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So this is also an activity that I'm going to sit here in the deck just for right now. We were actually going to run this Kahoot with you, but I want to make sure that we get through all the information first. And if we have time for fun, woohoo, my favorite thing to do in the classroom is to have some fun with certification. And so there's a video on this slide that you can play. It's about a 3-minute video. And then there's already a Kahoot built to go with it. So just a fun way to get students engaged in why certification is important. There are a lot of statistics in this video. So a little bit of power there for you in the classroom. Now, what Heather was talking about, one of my very favorite things to talk about is certification. And this is no lie. This is Ashley, and she just happened to be my student, so that made it even a little more special. But Certiport decided to follow her story. She came into my classroom as a freshman, so excited to learn. I mean, so excited to learn. And sat right down in front of me. I was just thinking, this is going to be so great. And we got about 5 minutes into class, and I turned around, and there was Ashley with big tears running down her face. I was like, oh, okay. And I'm not going to start the video yet. It looks black, but when I start the video, you'll see Ashley. I just kind of wanted to preface this video because when you watch this video, you would not believe what went on in class to start with. And so we went through this tier situation for 2 or 3 days, and come to find out, finally, I kind of pulled her out by herself, and she said that she had been being bullied by some girls that were in the class, and she wasn't supposed to be in the class with them. And so that's when I started to give her her power back and just said, you know, I can take care of this as a teacher. Your parents can take care of this, or you can learn how to take care of this on your own. And that's by diving in and getting some skills that separate you from everything else that's going on. It may not stop the situation, but it will give you confidence. And so we were literally 3 days into the school year, and I put her into a Microsoft certification exam, PowerPoint first, and woohoo, she passed. It was so exciting. Anyway, the next day, that girl, I could see her running down the hall. Miss Schmidt, I had her first period. Can I take another exam? Absolutely. You've got 6 more to take. That was when the 2016 suite was in, and the rest is history. Please excuse me if I get emotional with this story because it's just so special. So anyway, here comes the video. Please let me know if we can't hear the sound. I did share my sound, so hopefully it'll come through.
Become the best in the world at these technologies.
My name is Ashley Masters. I'm 16 years old and I have 12 Microsoft Office Specialist certifications. It all started with a freshman required class at my high school. I was so shy and nervous. I didn't like the high school setting. It made me very uncomfortable. Having certification put me in a different mindset. It put me to feel comfortable and confident and like I really knew what I was doing. And that's something that a lot of high school students don't find. Then I started going to these competitions, of course, meeting hundreds and thousands of new people. I had to have confidence to step up and talk to them and communicate and start friendships and building relationships with all these people around the country.
She wanted to be good. She wanted to be good at everything she did. She just had a few emotional hindrances. You know, high school was a new thing. Certification has been a vehicle to recognize greatness in students and help them achieve that greatness.
My advisor, Mrs. Schmidt, she posted on Facebook, Ashley just took first place in Excel 2013, and a sponsor saw the post and they're like, no way, that's awesome, we need her to come work for us and she can train all of our employees in Excel. And it was crazy. I was like, no way, that's so cool. And then a week later I had my first interview with them and they hired me on the spot. I was 15 years old. I started off with about 4 hours per week. I would have maybe 2 people I would train each week and I would have a 2-hour session with them. We'd go over projects, we would use their worksheets so we could improve them. And about a week and a half later into the job, they had an opening for administrative assistant and I was offered that job full-time, 40 hours per week. I would encourage everyone to get certification. It's completely changed my life. I've gotten to travel the country going to these national competitions. Now I am training at the local women's shelter and I'm teaching them certification. Next, I hope to attend Central Washington University next fall. I would 10 out of 10 hands down recommend certification.
Friends, that is why we certify students. That is the epitome of the certification journey. And not everybody will land a job at Microsoft, but everyone will be more confident. Everyone will have more skills. Everyone will have a leg up on their employment. It's just such power in certification. So Ashley did indeed go to college, and she did Running Start, which is a program that we have that you can do high school and college together. So she graduated high school with her AA and then did go on to get a business degree, actually a dual business degree in finance and business, and then a master's. And she is in her 3rd year of working at Microsoft. And there are some links in this deck where you can connect with Ashley if you'd like to. Additionally, she's been invited by Certiport to do several different podcasts. And so how Microsoft Office Specialist certification impacted my career is a very powerful podcast for the support of certification, especially MOS certification. Additionally, she's also got a podcast out, Women in Technology, and where she speaks with another young lady that is in the Adobe world. So just some phenomenal, great things. And I don't know if you guys are seeing this floating toolbar, but I keep trying to hide it. So my apologies if it's in your way. All right.
And Kathy, I think the nice thing about you sharing this and sharing this deck is that they have the video available to show the students. Because I know, like, all day long, I would say, oh, certification, you know, it's awesome, all of that. But when the student sees another student or hears it from another student, that's when it really starts being impactful. I know me speaking to the parents, they're like, oh yeah, I want them to get certified. I want them to, be able to potentially earn college credit from certification. They were all into it. But the students speaking to the students or seeing like this video and things like that, where it is success stories, that's where it really starts become meaningful for the students.
Oh, absolutely. And Ashley is so great. If you reach out to her on LinkedIn, she has visited so many schools virtually to help support their program. And I still have teachers come up to me at conferences. They're like, oh my goodness, we showed Ashley's video at the beginning and my middle school students are so stoked. These are middle school kids. So just great stuff. So by all means, please use this video in your programs. It's very powerful, very powerful. And thanks for those comments, Heather, because it truly is a powerful video. All right. Let's move on. All right, so let's talk about Learn, Practice, Certify. This is the route that we use to actually certify. So learning is the curricular piece of it. There's static curriculum deployed through your own learning management system. So whether that's Canvas or Moodle or wherever you're deploying it, where you're using shared files and those types of things, a little bit of heavy lifting, but sometimes free is where you have to be. But there's also for paid curriculum, and our particular curriculum that we have produced currently is Jasper Active. And it is going to our next gen version of Jasper Active, which is now XED, Experience Ed, or Experience Education Differently, is what is our slogan for it. So it's a very powerful, and I am so excited to share this with you because 3 of us teachers worked so hard collaboratively with our production team and our programmers to make sure that this was everything that teachers would want in a product. So very powerful there. Then once students have learned, they want to practice prior to taking certification exams because different states have different models and different schools have different models within different states. Some states have packages of certification exams and there's more than one offered per student per program. Some only get 1 voucher, some get 3 vouchers. So the practice model is very important. Geometrics is the most popular practice venue or software, I guess would be the proper word. And with that said, Geometrics is already integrated with both Jasper Active and XED. So it's a very important part and helps prepare them for the certification exam. On top of that, the last part, Certify, which is the most important part where the value is really seen, is done through Certiport. There are Certiport Compass exams, and Compass is available through Compass Local, Compass Cloud, which is their new platform that's out in beta right now, or Exams from Home, which is virtual. Compass Cloud is also a web-based version, which if you're a teacher and you're currently using Compass, you understand the challenge with proctoring and admin credentials, and Compass Cloud has remedied all of that. So very powerful, and it's out in beta right now. And then Exams from Home is strictly virtual, run off of virtual machines. So you just need web access. Those 2 things do have to be scheduled, but they are available. Jasper Active, I'm just going to quick go with this because Jasper Active is current in many schools right now, but working its way out, and XED will be in. So very excited. It's all about measurability and focusing on critical thinking and application so that the learners can actually be using Microsoft Office rather than just learning it. So very powerful there, and very powerful for the teacher. Both these programs save the teacher 85% prep time. So having been a teacher, this was one of my favorite things to stumble upon, and so powerful for you as a teacher. Really allows you that opportunity to teach instead of prepare. There are courses, MOS courses, 2016, 2019, 365 apps, digital literacy, Adobe Photoshop and InDesign, QuickBooks, desktop, and it's available in English and Spanish. And then both of these programs, they have all kinds of benefits for the teacher and the admin. Of course, we just talked about the 85% time saving on prep and grading, their progress reports, teacher resources, hands-on learn by doing for the learner, prescriptive pathways so that they're not wasting time doing things that they don't need to be doing. All of our objectives in the courses align to Certiport certification exams. There are ebooks embedded, fun learning environment, and we as teachers just really wanted these products to be what a teacher needed to hit the ground running with. So very powerful resources. So when we talk about, Heather, did you have any comment based on any of that?
I do. I really want to focus on the learn piece because we all know, like, we're talking about certification, right? And certification is very important, and we want them to, you know, pass the test. I mean, at the end of the day, it's a test, and we want them to have that certification, walk in with that certification. But the learn piece is very important because yes, we want them to walk in with a certification, but they also need to have that really good foundation of saying, yes, I know how to use it. I know how to use it in different situations in real life. So that's where that learn piece is huge, right? It's not just, oh, I passed the certification, but it's actually being able to get in there and utilize it with real world situations. How would you actually be using it? And
Yes.
so that's really where that learn piece comes in. With our platform, you know, and other learning solutions, but it really allows them to practice, really start thinking about how would I utilize this in an office space or even in a different classroom, you know, and I think you even said it before, how much it can help even in their own education. I know with some of my students just doing tutoring, right, and being more productive in an English class or a science class or something else. So those learn pieces and bringing that in is huge, and allowing them to really look at that and really practice those pieces. One thing that I like about our platform, and this is how I always worked as a facilitator. As soon as I could, you know, flip the classroom, so to say, I worked as a facilitator, and that's one of the reasons that I like our products, because it really lends to that flipped type facilitator classroom without a lot of prep that you need to have as a teacher. And the reason that I liked that type of model so much is because I was able to walk around and have more one-on-one time with every single student in the classroom, where if I was standing in front of the classroom teaching, you know, I did not have that time to spend one-on-one. So I could remediate with them. I could, you know, answer questions, even go a little bit more in depth with certain topics with the students that are accelerating, or if I needed to give that extra support to the students that needed that. I felt like that really just lended really well to what the students needed to be able to support their learning.
Absolutely. Amen. Absolutely. And there are just so many opportunities and options for differentiated teaching with these platforms and these programs. And so, yes, well stated. Excellent. One of the things that we love about our new platform is that it's integrated. So it can be hosted on Gmetrics, it's API fulfilled, it's LTI compliant. It's powerful. So this is one of the big asks that we had that has been fulfilled in this product. And so that is very exciting.
Yep. Doesn't matter what LMS you're using, you can incorporate it even if you're not using geometric, so that makes it nice. It's completely integrated.
So yeah, Blackboard, Moodle, Canvas, those different types of things. So yes, LTI compliant. So exciting. So exciting. Differentiated learning, as Heather was just talking about, it's got a prescriptive learning style, which allows students to take a benchmark exam, which keeps them from having to go through what they don't need. You can do flexible student grouping. There's ebook, quick decks, and quick clips. So different types of visual, kinesthetic, and audio learning for students. So they can choose, as a teacher, you can actually go in and force them to go through all of those, or you can say they can choose one or two of whichever style they want. Or Heather and I, we always laugh in our presentations because Heather likes her students to go through some of that stuff. And I'm like, hey, just go in and take the exam because I want to see what if you take it and pass, woohoo, we're moving on, baby. So yeah.
Everybody, so that's one of the things, and that it's good that we present together, is because everybody has a different teaching style. And
Yes.
it's not like one is right or wrong. It is just everybody has their different approaches. And for certification and utilizing different products like our learning product, that's where you really want to kind of look at it. And that's where I like our solution, because you can utilize it no matter what your style is. If you want it to be flipped and prescriptive, where the students only focus on what they need to know, you can do that very quickly and easily. If you want to do more direct instruction, because that's how your students learn best, or that's how you teach best, you can do that as well. So yeah, absolutely. It's student-centered, but it's also teacher-centered. That's, you know,
Yes.
yeah,
Yes.
exactly.
I felt so bad for our programmers with 3 teachers kind of in the development of this, because every time we would get in a meeting with Heather, would be another colleague of ours, and I and Heather, we'd be like, oh, but we need this. Oh, but we need that to be able to do this. I'm sure they were just like, what? But yeah, we worked hard to get it all here for you as teachers. So just very exciting. All right. Flexible format, like Heather was just saying, direct instruction, flipped, hybrid, self-paced. And then I'm going to hide this right here and talk about this for a second. Oh man, come on. Okay, so our courses that are included in here, Python, Azure Fundamentals, QuickBooks Online, PMI Project Management Ready, Entrepreneurship and Small Business, Communication Skills for Business, Microsoft 365 Apps, HTML and CSS, Java, JavaScript, Microsoft Security Compliance, and then Microsoft Azure AI Fundamentals. And we are constantly adding new courses and updating these courses. I think next gen is the new buzzword when you update a course. So you'll see that in the description for many of these courses.
Yeah. One thing that I do want to bring up, and I know, and we're going to, you know, get back into more certifications and things like that. One thing I do want to bring up, because we're talking about all of the courses that are available, is, and Kathy has mentioned it a couple of different times, is it's built by teachers. So, and Kathy has been in the situation, I've been in this situation, and I can almost guarantee you almost everybody on this call right now has been in a situation, because this is CTE and this is what happens. We're teaching business. I'm teaching keyboard. I'm happy in my keyboarding class. Oh, and then all of a sudden I'm teaching Python next semester. Well, I don't know Python. How do I teach?
I don't even know how to spell it.
Yeah, like, oh, what is a Python? You know, so one of the things that we really focused on is what does a teacher need that does not know and is walking into a brand new course? What do they need to be able to implement that course right away? So, and really help their students learn those things. So that's where we come in with all of the additional teacher resources, things like that, because, you know, as teachers, we need to understand what is on the exam, how to approach it with the exam. And we don't want to be spending a lot of times having to gather all of this stuff, other information. And so if something is given to us with that support system, it really makes getting our students certified that much easier.
Absolutely. And I am so excited to share some slides because we really went to town for all of you as far as teacher resources, but we're coming to that slide. So very, very exciting information. Again, 100% exam coverage for certification exams with Certiport. And then this is the end all be all if you are a teacher. And that's the instructor resources. We have really gone to town on this, so you can see the different resources that are available to you. And if you come down to the very bottom, that unplugged activities and unit extension activities, I've never seen those included in any other teacher resources. And unplugged are, I have a sub tomorrow, or this morning I woke up and I'm sick, or my child is sick, or I have a field trip I forgot about, or whatever, and I need something that a sub can do that doesn't involve getting on the computers. Or you know what, my kids just need off the screens for a while. So very powerful activities there for every unit. I believe, Heather, if I'm correct, I think there are 4 activities for every unit. So we're not just talking 1 or 2 activities there. So
yeah, and that makes it nice going back into that learn piece, right? And like you said, there's vocab stuff. So passing certification, and we know they need to understand the vocab. First and foremost, they need to understand the vocab. So
we agree on that. Woo!
Yeah, we do agree on that one. But so they have the extra vocab help with those unplugged activities. But the other way of thinking about it too is when they're learning a concept, and taking it off the computer and taking that concept and doing something else with it, it just really resonates with them, and being able to recall that information when they go to sit on the certification. So the unplugged activities work, for many different reasons of, yes, let's get them off the computer, but let's reinforce what they just learned. Let's reinforce vocab, all of those things, because of getting them into certification. And this is a learn piece, right? But you can also use it as a practice piece, because going back into that modeling of learn, practice, certified, there are multiple ways that they get to learn the content in our platform or whatever platform, and then you want them to practice it, right? Practice it, and then get into that certification piece.
Yes, and I keep forgetting to mention this, but nobody wants their student to apply and get a job based on Microsoft certification, and then they go to type, a business letter, and the entire thing is centered, or some crazy thing like that, because they've never actually used the skills in a proper document application. So, so many great things.
And that's where the learn piece, and Kathy, you and I both know, we've been there, and that's where the learn piece is just so important. The practice and certify are important. Certification is the end goal. That's where we want everyone. But that learn piece it's huge. It's just huge.
Yes.
Because you need to be able to back up what you can do. And this brings up another good point I just thought about when you were talking about this, is in throughout the curriculum, they have the ability to start creating a I just lost my word, a portfolio.
Yes.
Because they are able to start building a portfolio. So when they go into a job, just like you said, do you know how to write a business letter, or create a form or something else? But they can walk in with that certification, with a portfolio, and then they are able to back everything up. Yes, I've learned it. I've shown the portfolio. I have my portfolio, and I have my certification that is a part of my portfolio. That's a win-win-win-win-win situation right there.
Yeah, that's a fact. And that create project prompt and create project example, one of the things I wanted to talk about, and many of you probably do this as a best practice, but I love to partner across the curriculum. So for instance, when I was doing Word, I was teaching MLA document skills, but partnering with the English department where, you know, students could do that, whatever book they were doing, their MLA project in my classroom, but get the technical grades from me and get the English grade from the teacher. Or, you know, in PowerPoint, I actually partnered with PE, and students had to do a Fitfolio and show that with a PowerPoint. And so just things like that, partnering across with science or social studies as well with, you know, charts and graphs and things like that. So
oh, it's
powerful.
a great way. I did the exact same thing, and I think it really
Yeah.
hits home to the students to be able to see, once again, in a real world situation. They have
Yes.
those, but then they're able to apply it, and co-curricular is huge, is
Yes.
just huge.
Absolutely. All right. So I just want to talk quickly, move on a little bit from Learn, Practice, Certify, and that's leveraging certifications. So once they have a certification, how do they make the most of it? LinkedIn digital badging is one of the most powerful ways to get that certification out into the universe. And with a LinkedIn profile, they will actually get job offerings coming at them based on the certifications that they have. And so once they receive their email to claim their badge, they can log into their badging account. And then, as you can see the little picture there, they can share that on LinkedIn. And everyone, I'm sure you've all seen it show up on your LinkedIn profiles, a message that so-and-so has just earned this credential or that credential. Another way is on their resume, of course. That's like the primary reason that we want certification, besides the skills and the confidence, is so that it can be seen and employers can see that they have it. I am a big fan of using the certify.certiport.com, which is in the bottom left-hand corner of the certificate itself. It has a little locator number, and employers can actually log in there to see that the credential is real. They don't actually see a score or anything, but they do see that the applicant has that credential. And then applied knowledge is a great way to leverage certifications and to also drive home skills. I have a little picture there of my classroom and some of my students, and you can see Ashley on the right-hand side in that picture, and my wall of fame hanging behind there. These are my students, my master students taught community courses. And they did that at first to pay for FBLA travel. And it's 100% profit. And they create their own project and teach it in an 8-hour, 2 hours a night, 4 days a week. And then run a certification exam at the end. And it's so powerful. Then they took it a step further, and they actually decided that they wanted to partner with the local women's shelter. This was so powerful for them. They had no idea that adults could be in a situation like those adults were. And they partnered with our state Fish and Game and got donated computers that they got to send home with the women. And some of the women certified and talked about how that job was going to get them out of the shelter. Oh, so much great stuff. So much great stuff.
Yeah, we did something almost in this exact same lines, which is funny because this is way before we even knew each other. But it just hits home the power of certification. You know, I know even with my students, there were a lot of students that would have never, ever got in front of a bunch of adults and taught them how to do a skill. And once they got certified and got that, you know, like, you know, they had that pride and they knew what they were talking about.
Yep.
And then they were able to do it easily. And then start talking to the adults about, you know, certification and how great certification is. Even other teachers in the school, they were, you know, hey, come get certified, we'll teach you how to do it. So just, you know, that reach of being able to, you know, reach out to people and be helpful.
So many skills, so many skills. And I always like to tell this quick story. Eli, the tall guy, fourth in from the left, he was always going to be a computer scientist, and he started earning his credentials. And by the time he got to be a senior, his dad was an HVAC specialist, so air conditioning and heating. And he decided that he did not want all the college debt, and his dad was making a lot of money as a certified HVAC specialist. So he came in one day and he said, "Miss Schmidt, I just want you to hear it from me." He said, "But I'm not going to go to college." And I was like, "Okay, well, why, how come?" And he said, "Well, I got accepted into the HVAC apprenticeship, and well, I'm taking the test for the HVAC apprenticeship." I jumped ahead of myself there and I said, "Oh, that's a pretty big test from what I hear from adults in the area." And he said, "Yeah, it is." I said, "Oh, are you nervous?" He said, "No." He said, "Do you know how many times I've studied a set of objectives and taken a certification exam and passed?" He said, "I'm not worried. I just looked up the objectives and Googled the stuff I didn't know." So much power in those certifications, aside from just the certification itself in the program that they're certified in. So last, and pretty quickly, because I want to leave some time for questions and anything else that might be needed, that's celebrating. Celebrating is so important, whether you're celebrating with the school, excuse me, and you saw Ashley, you know, in that picture with her hands up. So I've been woohooing for a long time. And we had a 3-story building, and every time someone passed, I'd be like, "Woohoo, yes!" And the kids would come down between class from the 3rd floor library. "Oh, we heard somebody's certified today. Who's certified?" You know, so then it was the talk of the school. But just those types of things, announcements at the school, talk about who's certified. I used to present my students to the school board if they were master certified, articles in the newspaper, all those kinds of things. And you can see the different types of walls of fame on this slide as well that celebrate student success. So just
And it can be powerful just to start getting enrollment, because I know some schools that, you know,
yes.
to make to have a class that would actually run, you need to make sure that you have that enrollment. And so I know personally it really helped enrollment, and everybody, I say everyone, a lot of people do have these walls of fame, right? And they have them in their classroom. I had mine outside of my classroom.
Yep,
So
in the hall.
mine, and it was in the hallway. Any master certified student got a poster with their picture and all their certifications outside of the classroom, because then people are walking down the hall and they're going, "I want
Yep.
that." And they stop in and, "How do I get that?" And I'm like, "Well, come on in, let's talk about it. And let's start talking about the courses that you could take and sign up for." And I mean, it was powerful. We also had a superintendent that was huge on tweeting things out. And so I would tweet every time if they wanted it, you know, it's up to them. But
Privacy,
it got so much traction because the students were starting to get excited, retweeting, and then more students are coming in saying, "How do I do that? I want you to tweet me." And a couple of times, you know, Microsoft, because I was tagging Microsoft and this and that, and they would come back and tweet, "Oh, congratulations." So then the students are super, "Oh, Microsoft about me," you know? So it is powerful to be able to start, you know, getting those tractions to get your students excited about certification.
Yeah, so great, so powerful. All right, my friends, with that said, are there any questions that I have not addressed?
I have a question, and some others may have as well. Please go ahead and put those in the chat, or feel free to unmute in a moment. You know, some teachers, you know, we did a survey not too long ago, and a lot of our teachers continue to teach Microsoft Office and the applications manually by standing up and teaching a unit class by class, period by period. This is the unit on the formatting bar, and they show the students, and the student goes and then does the activities. And that's, I mean, that's the way I used to teach when I was a teacher and taught Microsoft Office. Do you have any additional data or, you know, thoughts on the alternative delivery that you're providing? Because with your system, teachers don't have to really stand up and teach where the bold key is, because the software is providing that alternative delivery, and teachers are left to inspire, motivate, remediate, answer questions, and go to those higher level tasks. At least that's my perspective, and it obviously provides uniformity in the educational process too. Do you have any thoughts about, alternative delivery versus that manual delivery that some teachers continue to do, maybe out of necessity because their school doesn't have the funds to implement alternative delivery? But do you have any thoughts about that?
Yeah, I'll make a comment and then I'll let Heather comment. So just because this is one of those things that her and I differ on as well, and I ran three different types of learning in my classroom. So they would test first, and then based on a specific score, everyone would write a reflection, because that was part of my teacher principal evaluation plan. And it gave me an opportunity to have student growth data, right? So they'd have a benchmark score, and then they would do this reflection where they would take ownership of their own learning. And if they scored a certain level, then they would have a 2-week remediation where they could use a mapping process that we have, and they would learn and then retest. But I had a different access as well to certification vouchers. They could always use the benchmark in the program again to test, or they could use the end summary assessment to retest. But the point is that higher level, if they passed, they would just move on to the next certification. If they were close, they would remediate and retest. If they were below a certain level, then I would lead those people in the class for the first few lessons until they started to get a rhythm and understand how to use the program. And I even did that in Jasper Active in the classroom. I literally would walk them through step by step in Jasper Active so that they could start to get a cadence and a process by which they would learn themselves. And then, of course, you had the majority of kids that would just fly. And some periods you would have such a group of kids who are like, nope, I just need to follow along with you, Ms. Schmidt. And so you could kind of pick and choose how you wanted to do that. But I liked the fact that even with this program, which Heather's going to probably testify to the fact that she already did, that she was a facilitator, I like the fact that I could stand in the front of the class and lead and inspire my students, but I didn't have to do the prep work. I knew where everything was already where it needed to be, was already web-based. My students already had access to it. So that's kind of my take on that. Do you want to comment further on that, Heather?
Yeah, and I think you hit a lot of the nail on the head and on a lot of points. Everybody teaches differently, and we talked about that. Everybody learns differently. And I think that that's where our program is really, I wish I had it when I was in the classroom. I did not have it. I did not have Jasper when I was in the classroom. I was a facilitator, but I allowed my students to go at their self-pace. So I brought them all together at one point. I would do a little bit of direct instruction and let them go. And then I would go and give them the support that they needed. And that kind of where our program comes in, because everybody learns differently. So they have the in-app experience. They also can learn from an ebook. They can learn from a video. They can learn from a flashcard base. But then also as the educator, I'm there. And like you said, Kathy, if you have those students that need the direct instruction, say, okay, I'm having a small group session right here. Let's walk through some of this. But if I have the students that excel, let them excel. Let them go.
Absolutely.
Let them move on. And we have built in extension activities and things that they can do beyond just the certification and just the regular learning. I don't want to hold any of my students back. And when I would be doing direct instruction and you see the student like laying across the desk, like, oh, would you stop talking now?
Yeah.
It was just kind of that thought process. I want all of my students engaged, and whatever that means to them. And that's where I feel like our product really lends really well for all teaching styles, all learning styles.
Well, don't
Yes,
forget the
absolutely.
students who are absent because how band trips, football trips, illness,
Yep.
just tardiness, and then how many times in the past have you had to, have I had to prepare lessons to send back to them of things that I had already taught the students? Because at the time, when I taught, we didn't have some of these tools that really have empowered learning, and just as you said, allow that differentiated learning approach to where you can give the students the work at home and the explanations are there and you can still support it just helps teachers so much. So I think like Heather, I didn't have those tools available, and I'm really wishing now that if I could go back and teach with those tools, it would be a blessing. Anyway, before
Yeah.
everybody leaves today, we would like to please, there's our contact information at CCI. They can give you a more detailed approach to what they do. We'd love to hear about what your thoughts are today. This is your last opportunity to ask questions live today. Please take a couple moments and tell us what you think at nbea.org/webinar evaluation. We're going to pass those evaluations along to CCI probably tomorrow or so. So if you just tell us what you thought, that helps us plan for the future. I know for right now, I want to thank our presenters. It was a great overview of the value of certification. In fact, I took one of your first slides and screenshot it for our community, community.nbea.org. If you haven't joined that yet, highly recommend that you enter and talk about this session today. Leave some thoughts there on the posts that we just made. Here's the link to our online community. You can reach us there. I don't see any final questions in the chat. Any closing remarks from our friends at CCI?
Oh, woohoo! Get certified!
There you go. All right. Well, Kathy, your enthusiasm is contagious. So thank you for being here. Heather, thank you. Sunday, thank you for helping us. And for all of us here at NBEA, thank you for being here today.